To get started, you're going to need a ball of your favorite yarn, a large eye sewing needle, size 8 circular needles, size 8 double pointed needles, some stitch markers, and a ruler. So you're going to start off by taking your circular needles and your yarn, and you're going to cast on 72 stitches. You can do any method of cast on you like. I prefer long tail method. So you just continue until you cast on 72. So once you've cast on your 72 stitches, you're going to take one of your stitch markers. Make sure your stitches are straight on your needles. Place a marker. You're going to begin a knit 1, purl 1 rib for 1 inch. So you just start by knitting and purling. Once you have your 1 inch of a 1 by 1 rib, then you're going to start an increase round. So you're going to knit 2, and on your third stitch, you're going to do a knit in the front and the back and increase. So now you have 4 stitches. So knit 2, and on your third one, you're going to knit in the front and the back. You're going to increase. Now you can increase any way that you want. That one's the easiest. But if you do the one where you pick up the bars, you're going to knit 3. And then after your third one, then you're going to pick up a bar before your next stitch, place it on the needle, knit in the back of it, and then you'll do your increase. So you can either knit 2, and on your third knit in the front and the back to make your 4, or you can knit 3 and after your third one, pick up a bar, knit through the back, and that'll make your 4th stitch. And then you're just going to keep increasing all the way around. Once you do your last increase, you should have 96 stitches from now on. And you're going to start your pattern. This pattern works with 2 rows. So you repeat, 2 rows and you start a new pattern. So the first 2 rows are going to be a knit 2, bring your yarn to the front, and you're going to purl 2. And then you just repeat that all the way around for 2 rows. So it's like you're doing a 2 by 2 rib, and then we're going to alternate. So you knit 2, purl 2. And it's such a simple pattern, yet it looks really neat and like you did a lot more work than just knitting and purling. So you finished your first knit 2, purl 2 row. Then you're going to repeat that for one more row. So you start with your knit 2, purl 2. So once you've done your 2 rows of knit 2, purl 2, now you're going to alternate. And you're going to do 2 rows of purl 2, knit 2. And then that's going to give like this staggered diagonal effect, which gives you the pattern for the hat. So just remember to start with 2 rows of knit 2, purl 2, and then do 2 rows of purl 2, knit 2. So you purl 2, knit 2. And then you just keep alternating between those 4 rows, 2 and 2, for 6 inches. And that will be the length of the hat before we start decreasing. So once you get your hat to this point, where it is 6 inches from your 1x1 rib, now you're going to start decreasing. So you're going to continue in a pattern all the way across, placing a stitch marker every 16 stitches. So once you got 16, place a stitch marker and continue that all the way around. So when you've placed all your stitch markers, then you're going to continue your pattern till you reach a stitch marker. So just continue your purl 2, knit 2. Then when you reach your stitch marker, you're going to pass it over and decrease by purling 2 together after every stitch marker. So you pass the stitch marker over, then purl 2 together, and that'll be your decrease. And you continue that until you have only 10 stitches remaining. So after a while you're going to have to decrease. After a while you're going to have to go down to double pointed needles. It'll just be more convenient with the less stitches you have. So you do your pattern up until the stitch marker, pass it over, purl 2 together. And then just keep working your pattern, decreasing until you got 10 stitches, and then we'll come back to finish it off. As you decrease, it's going to affect your pattern, but all you have to do is just keep with the pattern. You know, do your decreases, do your purl 2 together after the stitch marker, but continue with however your pattern should be going. So purl 2 together. And then this time around this should be a purl. So you're just going to purl the 1 stitch and move on to the pattern of knitting 2. When you get to the point in your knitting where you feel you need double pointed needles, you should always start the needle with a decrease so that every time you get around to that needle, you decrease. So you take your work and you would take off your stitch marker, because every time you reach back to this, you will need to decrease. Do your decrease, and then continue your pattern on your double pointed needle. So once you get down to your final stitches, then you're going to pull a short length of yarn and you're going to cut it, thread it on a needle, then you're going to take all your stitches off of your knitting needles and pull the yarn through. Then you're just going to pull on it, feed the yarn through the center into the hat, pull tight to close up the hole on top, flip your hat inside out, then you're just going to pick up some random sections inside your hat and you should keep it tight. And then I like to put a small knot. You can finish the hat off however you like to finish your projects. Cut off the yarn. And that's what the top of your hat looks like once you complete your decreasing. Then you're just going to finish off the bottom here. And there is your finished hat. Thank you for watching, and I would love to see your finished projects of this hat. And I'll see you next time.